What's going on, everyone? This is Alex from Father's Love, Father's Heal. I'm back in the garden, and I want to talk about something today that no one talks about, no one cares about, and everyone overlooks, and that is your walking paths. Your walking paths. Who cares about them? What do? They don't do anything. All you do is you walk on them, right? Wrong. You can take your walking paths and turn them into a water capture compost building system. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, there are a few different ways that I cover my walking paths with materials. One is straw. And all you do is just take some straw, layer it on your walking paths, and then that'll help smother out any weeds and start building compost. Another one that I get to use is sawdust. Now, I have a wood shop and I produce a lot of sawdust, and I always just will burn it with my burn pile. But I recently thought about, why not use all the sawdust and put it in my walking paths? Help build quality soil. One of the main things that stood out for me when I started adding sawdust to my garden pathways was anytime it rained and I would step on the sawdust, it would just be full of water. And I just thought, well, that's pretty interesting. So in the summertime, once it starts getting a hot season, and any rain that happens in my garden, this sawdust is gonna capture that rain. And instead of me constantly having to water, once those plants start getting a little dry, all those roots underneath are gonna start getting moisture from this garden path. All that soil that's dried out, and I missed a couple waterings, I just don't feel like it, I'm tired. You'll start seeing that these plants are gonna still be hydrated from that root system. It's gonna find that water in that walking path, and it's gonna help keep those plants watered. Now check it out, how much this sawdust absorbs this water. Now, if I just had dirt walkways, this would just be a little mud pit here. So it absorbed all of it, and then when I step down on it, I can see all the water coming out. So it holds the water in place and then slowly release it over time. It's really cool, and I'm so glad I thought of this. Plus, this is gonna start breaking down, and it breaks down fairly quickly and starts turning into beautiful compost, and I can scoop it up, put it on top of my beds if I want to. Let me show you the soil underneath. So before I started adding amendments to my walking paths were like my garden used to be, just clay, disgusting, sticky clay. Like if you would dig down, it would just smell like rotting things. It was just a horrible, horrible quality soil. And so I'm down almost a spadeful, and I'm still pulling out nice, rich, smells good, quality soil. Let's see how deep this goes before I get back to the clay. That's like about a foot, almost a foot before I start hitting that clay. But even still, it's still starting to mix in with some good quality soil. So if I wanted to, I would rake back the layer of sawdust and anything else that's not broken down and scoop that up, start scooping up my walkway and start putting it on my garden bed. And this is all compost. This is all good quality growing medium. So it's turning pretty much a wasted space, which is your walking path, into compost. Now I produce about a bucket of the sawdust probably every couple days, and this is mainly walnut. Now if I would ever work with pressure treated material for any reason, I wouldn't use that. But I use either pines, walnuts, maple, woods like that, poplar. So this is perfectly fine to use in my walkways, and if a little gets mixed into my garden bed, I don't want to dig it into the compost. But if it's on the top layer, that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything as long as I don't mix it in, because you don't want that to get mixed into your compost because it can suck some of your nitrogen out. to try to break down the sawdust. But like I said, it's really fine, so it breaks down really fast. So I have a big supply of this, and when my busy season, I'm producing probably a day. Each day I'm producing 1 or 2 of these buckets. So quickly, I'm going to be able to just cover my garden bed with a good 5 to 6 inches of sawdust. Plus, I like the way it looks. It looks a little cleaner. It kind of breaks up between where my raised beds start and my walkways start. Plus, it's a little bit softer on your feet, and it looks a lot cleaner than, say, the straw. Straw is great, don't get me wrong. I still have straw on there, but I think this looks a little cleaner because it just divides where certain things start, other things end. I have a bucket here, so let me use the rest of it to finish up the rest of this pathway and start on a new pathway. Now there's one thing I will say, until it rains, it's gonna be dusty. So in the summertime, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna make a pile of it off in a corner of my garden bed. And when it calls for rain, I'm gonna spread it out so that day it gets nice and wet, because if it's not gonna stay wet, it's just gonna dust everywhere, and I don't want a big old dust mess when I'm walking or my dogs are running around in here. So that's, I think, what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make me a big old pile of it, and when the weather calls for rain, I'm gonna spread it out, and it'll be good to go. Once it rains for the first time and gets everything moist, it'll stick to the ground, and you won't have to worry about that at all. But that's one thing you do have to know. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you got something from this. And if you don't have a wood shop, because I'm assuming you don't, if you find a local cabinet maker or anyone that deals with cutting large quantities of wood, they'll be more than happy to give you their sawdust. It's a waste product for cabinet workers. They just bag it up and throw it out. So they'll be more than happy to give it to you. So look for your local cabinet makers and ask them what they do with the sawdust. You'll have to go pick it up, but other than that, it's a free waste product that you could turn into black gold compost. I hope you got something from this video. I hope you implement this in the garden if you can. I'll see you at the next one.